Yamuna Chiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari Jaya Yamuna Chiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari
Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Gokula ki, Radhakanta ki, Talavana ki, Go Premananda. Okay, so it's text 29, chapter 9 of Canto 2, answers by citing the Lord's version. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Chaivanuruktamam Deving Saraswati Vyasam Tom Jayo Mudiriye. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer our respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narayan, to Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and to Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Dinami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Acharya Nivisi Sundari Prasvita Deshana Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So text 29. First is that this? Is it Bhagavat? Is that,
yeah.
Okay. Bhagavat.
Bhagavat.
Bhagavat. Chikshitam. Aham. Bhagavat Chikshitam Aham. Karavani. Atendrita. Karavani Atendrita. Ne amana praja sargam ne amana praja sargam Bhajeyam yad anugrahat Bhajeyam yad anugrahat Bhagavat Chikshitamaham Karavanihi Atendritaha Neham I'm sorry Ne amana praja sagam Bhajeyam yad anugrahat Bhagavat Chikshitamaham Karavanihi Atendriyataha Na amana praja sargam Bhajeyam tad anugrahat Is that 3 or 2?
3.
Okay.
Bhagavat Chitsitamaham Karavanihi Atendritaha Nehamana Prajasagam Bhajeyam Yadanugrahat
Bhagavat Chikshitam Aham
Karavanihi Atendriyaha
Nehamana Praja Sargam Bhajeyam Yadanugrahat
Bhagavat Chitsitamaham Karavanihi Atendrita Nehamana Prajasagam Bhajeyam Yadanugrahat Bhagavat Chitsitamaham Karavanihi Atendrita Nehamana Prajasagam Bhajeyam Yadanugrahat
Bhagavat Chikshitamaham Karavanihi Atendritaha Nehamana Prajasagam Bhajeyam Yadanugrahat
Bhagavat Chikshitamaham
Bhagavat Chiksitamaham
Karavanihi Atendritaha
Karavani Atanvita
Nehamana praja sargam
Nehamana Praja Swadam
Bhageyayam yadanugraha
Bhajeyam Yadanugrahat Bhagavad Chitamaham Karavani Atanvitaha Nehamana Praja Swadam Bhajeyam Yadanugrahat.
Is that everyone? So the word for word is Bhagavat.
Bhagavat.
Actually, it's Bhagavat. Bhagavat. By the personality of Godhead.
By the personality of Godhead.
Shikshitam.
Shikshitam.
Taught. Aham. Myself. Karavani. By acting. He. Certainly. Atanvita. Instrumental. No. Never. Iham mana. Although acting. Praja sargam. Generation of the living entities. Pradeyam. Be conditioned. Yet. As a matter of fact. Anugrahat. By the mercy of. So the translation by His Divine Grace is Sri Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki. Please tell me, so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the personality of Godhead, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities. So please repeat. Please tell me, so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the personality of God, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities. Please tell me, so that I may be taught in the matter by the instruction of the personality of God, and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities. So the key, two of the key words in this is verses instrumentally, and not to be conditioned. Let me explain the purport by Srila Prabhupada. Brahmaji does not want to become a speculator dependent on the strength of his personal knowledge and conditioned to material bondage. Everyone should know in clear consciousness that one is, in the execution of all activities, an instrument. The conditioned soul is instrumental in the hands of the external energy. Gunamayi Maya, or the illusory energy of the Lord. And in the liberated stage, the living entity is instrumental to the will of the personality of God directly. To be instrumental to the direct will of the Lord is the natural constitutional position of the living entity, whereas to be an instrument in the hands of the illusory energy of the Lord is material bondage for the living entity. In that conditional state, the living entity speculates on the absolute truth and his different activities. But in the unconditioned state, or stage, the living entity directly receives knowledge from the Lord. And such a liberated soul acts flawlessly, without any speculative habit. The Bhagavad Gita 10:10 through 11, in other words, chapter 10, verse 10 and 11, confirms emphatically that the pure devotees who are constantly engaged in the loving transcendental service of the Lord are directly advised by the Lord, so much so that the devotee unwaveringly makes progress on the path home back to Godhead. Pure devotees of the Lord are therefore not proud of their definite progress, whereas the non-devotee speculator is in the darkness of illusory energy and is very much proud of his misleading knowledge based on speculation without any definite path. Lord Brahma wanted to be saved from the pitfall of pride, although he was posted in the most exalted position within the universe. So the two verses that Prabhupada mentions is, the Tesham Satatam Yuktanam Brajatam Purvakam Tadam Yogam Tam Yena Manka Kubayanti Te, which is that to those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me, which is what one devotee, some of you know, at the time he asked, his name was Ganesham, later became Bhakti Tirtha Swami, and he was engaged in distributing standing orders to the professors in the universities, sometimes in very dangerous situations. In countries, because of his color of his skin, he was really, what to speak of being an American and a monk in communist countries, he really stood out and had some very amazing adventures. So he asked Prabhupada, how can I increase or improve my service? And Prabhupada quoted Tesham Satatam Yuktanam Prajatam Priti Gorvakam. In other words, by constantly devoting yourself to that service with love, that Krishna from within will give you the intelligence on how to perform it. And then the next verse, 10:11, is Tesham evanu kampartam aham agyana jantama nasat yami atma bhavasto jnana dipena basvata. I love this. This is a very poetic verse. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. See, I'll say that again. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So, in other words, here, there's, like I mentioned, in the verse he mentions I'm acting as an instrument. I'm acting an instrument in your hands, and I don't want to be conditioned by my service. And his service, Lord Brahma's service, is to assist in the creation of the creation of the population and the structure of the universe. And he's been given and then also to distribute the knowledge that he's given. He's the greatest Vedic scholar. And our sampradaya is a Brahma Madhva Gaudiya sampradaya. We're in the Brahma sampradaya. So he's given all this knowledge. But he's asking specifically, when he says conditioned, I don't want to be conditioned. I realize that you're using me as an instrument. Like, I use my glasses to see. So it's not like the glasses become really proud of how I read, or I try to think of a better example. We use various instruments like the cartels, but the cartels, even that, I can give a good example of this. That from my own personal experience, when we used to go out in Harinam, and so that first few weeks, clapping or playing cartels and dancing and chanting at the same time was like a difficult accomplishment, being able to synchronize the two things. And so, like being able to walk and chew gum at the same time, as they say. So I started to really practice, and I had some really good teachers. This devotee named Chedi Raj, really sweet devotee. Radhanath actually tells a real nice story, because Chedi Raj passed away while on Sankirtan, and he had to pick up Chedi Raj's material body. But anyway, he was such a blissful devotee, and he was an expert at playing cartels. So I emulated. I wanted to be like him, and I started practicing. And then I had seen Prabhupada already, but then now was a chance. I had my own set of cartels, and so I had learned a few things. I thought I was I had like a whiz kid on the cartels. I was real proud of the way I played. And it was at New Vrindavan. Prabhupada's up on the stage, and I'm off to the side, and he's looking over like this, and I'm trying to do like some little flurries on the cartels. He looks over, and then he just goes, it's just completely did this like without any effort at all. Just notice what I was doing, like a child trying to show up in front of his father, and he just like, and I'm just like completely humbled, that moment, of being falsely proud of what little thing I had learned. And so, in this way, sometimes we get in the beginning, we all start off. It's a big thing to be, introduced to Bhakti Yoga into this process, and you feel very grateful. And most people feel very humble in the beginning. And if you don't, they usually give you the pot washing job or the commode job to make. Bhaktisiddhanta used to do that. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about this the other day when you gave a class about this quote about, a college student, a graduate is more important than 100 hippies. But I remember Bhaktisiddhanta or Bhaktivinoda said that the more material education you have, the more you bray like an ass. And if someone was a college graduate, Bhaktisiddhanta would send them into the latrines to kill them, to clean them, to make sure they became humble and not be falsely proud of their material education. Not that those things can't be used in, but we have to understand that this particular quality of pride, we should be proud of our spiritual master and of the service that we've been given. And if we're executing our service, we should have, if we're doing it properly, we should have some sense of self-esteem that I'm doing my service in the way that he wants me to do this service, and I'm praying that if I continue to do it nicely, Tesham Satatam Yuktanam Ratatam Yukti Bhavakam Tadami Buddhi Yoga. He'll give me intelligence on how to improve my service, see what I'm not doing right and correctly. But once you start to think, I am an expert at this, and forgetting that everything that we do, my ability to speak right now or to move, is all based on the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His assistance. There's a demigod in charge of moving arms and hands and the growing of the nails and the hair, which I have too much of, and the ability to speak. And we think, I think this is, like if I look at a picture of myself, I get fixed at that moment, like in one of those movies where you see the different cells, the different frames, the old film. You see that picture right there, when I was 25 years old. That's me. But then you go up the frame a little bit, and all of a sudden, then you're with gray hair or no hair and less teeth, and
That's not me.
that's not me, no. That's me over there, the 25-year-old. I like that one better. But we identify with that, or all of a sudden we have a very nice singing voice, and then you sound like a frog croaking in the morning, because actually I heard Prabhupada, he was talking, and this was in 1977, he was having a conversation. He starts doing this cough, he said, "You hear this cough?" He said, "This is old man's disease. It means my body is rotten." And so, you know, after a while you start to talk like this, you know. I mean, I've noticed, especially, well, I don't want to offend you, but certain people, well, not anyone here, but at a certain point, your voice, you know, for some reason, some of these famous actresses, all of a sudden, they used to have very sweet, gentle voices, and then they're like, "Yeah, I remember back in yeah, I had one wrapped around my finger, you know, thought my skin was real soft, you know." Their voices get deeper because of whatever they've done in their lives. So you I don't want to be too frivolous, but, you know, everything is relative, and we identify with this body, and we identify with this mind and this education. But the material education, you don't necessarily take that with you. If you haven't used your human life properly, you may end up taking the body of a dog or an amoeba. You're not going to remember, you know, Einstein's theory of relativity or Newton's law of gravitation or anything about quantum physics when you're an amoeba. That's gone. But if you are engaging in cultivating transcendental knowledge, those realizations, they stay with you, you know, throughout all, you know, and I pray that wherever I go, whatever species I take, that I'll always remember what Prabhupada taught me, and I'll remember the holy name, and that I'm a servant. That is the perfection of human life. So there's a danger in becoming proud, though. Like, you're given a great responsibility, like Lord Brahma. So there's so many examples that really. A good example that Prabhupada used to say is that don't be proud of borrowed blooms, which means that somebody lends you a nice chadar or a nice piece of a garment, and you borrow it, and then everyone's complimenting you on how well you look. But it's because something I borrowed. So everything that we have, we're borrowing. And Prabhupada and Krishna are lending us this talents to do service. And if we use this talent that they're lending to us in the service of spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement, then we are using them properly, and it will increase. We will, things will get, you'll get better at it. But if we misuse it, or start to think, I am this talent, it's because of me so many devotees have joined. It's because of me so much books have been distributed. It's because of me, my talent, intelligence, what I said. Then Krishna will take it away from you. I've seen it so many times in my life. And, you know, you come in very humbly, and you start to do very nicely. Oh, I'm really cooking these feasts really nice. Everybody loves it. Everybody's complimenting me. And then you get really stuck getting, oh, yes, I am. I'm very expert at my kirtan or my this or that. And then all of a sudden, if you get too proud, Krishna can withdraw that. And so and then you again, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've forgotten my place. We have to always be remembering. So here's Brahma saying, I don't want to become too proud. Like the example, the classic example. Who am I going to say next? Indra. All due respect. No disrespect to Lord Indra. But he was sitting on his throne, and his guru walks in, and he becomes, he becomes a little callous, you know, to, I don't know exactly, but he didn't offer proper respects. He forgot, because I'm Indra. Yeah, I know he's my guru, yes. Like I heard Srila Kirti say once, just recently in his memories, he was Prabhupada was going out of the temple, and everyone's paying their obeisances, and there was one young brahmachari who just did this. And then Prabhupada turned to Srila Kirti and said, that is the beginning of his fall down. Right at that moment. Because he didn't pay proper respects. So we can't just, become like, I've done this, I know this, I'm at a certain level now. We have to be very, very careful. Otherwise, you can be cursed by your spiritual master, and in the case of Indra, he ends up having to take birth as a hog, and he actually gets attached to it.
You don't want to leave?
I don't want to leave. What do you mean? I have to go. Look at my beautiful wife. Look at my little children. When I go, oh no, I can't do it. I have a really nice part of the mud and garbage heap here. I'm wallowing in it. This is a hog's heaven, and he's the king of heaven. And Brahma's saying, come on, you got to get back to heaven. The parijata flower and the beautiful ambrosial feast. But look at the feast I have to eat here. So you can be punished in many ways, and there's so many stories. There's a really funny story. I think it's one of Krishna's, and somebody was recently mentioning, or I heard a class where mostly Krishna, when you hear that he's always smiling, and he always has a pleased expression towards his devotees. But rarely do you hear about Krishna laughing out loud. Well, in the story of Pandraka, he was a relatively successful king, and Kshatriya had some victories under his belt, and he started to think that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So much so that he actually started to dress like him, and even had 2 false arms with a false Sudarshan chakra and a club and a lotus and a nice garland and yellow dhoti, a fake Srivatsa, sign of the goddess of fortune, a fake Kashkuba gem. And he sent a messenger to Krishna and says that, it's time for you to stop pretending to be Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You must surrender the symbols of Vishnu to me, or else I will come and defeat you and take them from you. So Krishna, he sends a message back. Actually, I don't remember, but the essence of it was, I will surrender my Sudarshan chakra to you, but you may not, but be very careful, because it's very sharp. And so then Krishna goes with his army immediately, surrounds the fort. I think it was the king of Kasi's fort, and that's like Varanasi. And so the king of Kasi had 3 Akshahini, his army that was that big, and 2 Akshahini of cavalry and elephants and so on, was with Pandraka. And then Pandraka says, I've told you, now you must surrender all of your symbols of Vasudeva, surrender them to the true Vasudeva. And he said, all right, here is my Sudarshan chakra. Cuts off his head. It's like, so if you become too proud, you may actually start to think that you're God, or you don't need God. There's the story of when Samba, you know who Samba is? Samba was the son of Krishna and Jamavati, and he was very, very dear to his mother. And Sam, I think, means mother, and A means attached to. And it was the daughter of Duryodhana. Her name is Lakshmana. And they were going to have a Swayamvara ceremony, and she was going to select a husband, and she was not interested in Samba, but he comes and he kidnaps her. And everyone in the Kuru dynasty, and this is including Vidura and Arjuna, Bhishma Dev, and there's Dhritarashtra and Dronacharya and Karna, and they're all together on this. They are very, very upset with Samba, and they send out 5 or 6 Maharathas, including Karna and Duryodhana, Bhishma Dev, I think, and some others. And Samba was a Maharata, but all 6 of them were Maharatas. He did very nicely against them, and they were impressed by his valor, but they easily arrested him. They didn't want to kill him because they knew that now he's touched Lakshmana and she has to marry him. And they did think that he was a fit person because of his qualifications. But they were upset that he did this in a forceful way like that. And they immediately wanted to go to do battle against the Yadus. And then Narada Muni goes and tells the Yadu dynasty, which is King Ugrasena, Balaram, and Krishna. And Uddhava's there as well. And they immediately want to, Krishna and King Ugrasena, they're ready to go and save Samba, whatever that means, doing battle with the Kurus. So this was going to be a fratricidal war of a different kind. And Balaram says, no, let me go, I know them, I can talk to some, we can make some peaceful arrangement. So he comes, and I think he's with Uddhava. He doesn't actually go into the city, but outside the city there's a park and there's a little place he can stay in. And he sends Uddhava with a message that he's here, and they're all really excited to see him. I mean, Duryodhana and Balaram had a very good relationship. And they all get all the paraphernalia together to worship him. Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, Vidura, and I think Arjuna was even present. They all went there and they offered him proper paraphernalia and worshipped him. And then Balaram says, I have a message from the king of Ugrasena saying that you should immediately turn over Samba to the Yadu dynasty. Otherwise, we will have to, the only reason you have the royal insignias and this position as being emperors is because of the mercy of King Ugrasena. And they're just flabbergasted. Yeah, are you kidding me? Are you serious? We're the Kurus. Even Indra is dependent on us. You only have only because of your relationship with us do you get the chance to have a few kingdoms. And they're completely, aghast at Balaram's, thinking that they were equal or superior to them. And Balaram sits very quietly and he's becoming extremely angry. And he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but they have forgotten due to their... Now this may be just a play of the Yoga Maya for pastime purposes, but it shows that you can become covered over by your success and forget where that success comes from. That everything is coming from Guru and Krishna. And in this case, it's Balaram and Krishna personally. So when they then say something like, just listen to him. This is like the shoes that are meant for the feet want to be the helmet on the head. They are comparing themselves to us. They should immediately surrender all their royal insignias, the flags, everything. You only have the kingdoms because of us. And Balaram says just the opposite, and that Indra only gets to do what he does because of the mercy of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you're daring to speak like this about Krishna and King Ugrasena? So they leave, and his anger is... so do you know what he does next? He takes his plow and bangs it on the ground, and the whole city quakes. And then he begins to drag the city to this river. The whole city. He's dragging, I think it's Hastinapur. Yeah, he's dragging it to the river. And they immediately, so sorry, we forgot. And then offering obeisance, begging, please forgive us. And then Duryodhana comes forward with a beautiful dowry, so many elephants and the proper age and so much gold, and everything is resolved in this way. So, and then there's the story of Ramaharsana Sutta. He has been elected to be in charge of this 1,000-year sacrifice. And he's sitting on the Vyasasana, and Balaram comes in because he doesn't want to be a part of the Kurukshetra battle. And so he's going on pilgrimage. So first he goes to this gathering of sages, and everyone gets up and offers him proper respect except for Ramaharsana Sutta, because he's sitting on the Vyasa and he thinks he doesn't have to. So Balaram, he has a club, he doesn't use his club. He has a sword, he doesn't use his sword. Doesn't use a bow and arrow, doesn't use his fist. He takes the weapon, a blade of kusagrass, and touches his head. This is the power of Balaram. Of course, everyone is very upset because they've elected him to be in charge of this sacrifice, and they've promised him a long life, and he resolves this. Balaram said, well, I'll bring him back to life. And he said, no, that's all right. You're the Supreme Personality of God, but you have to set the right example. So then they all decide that Sutta Goswami, his son, is his expansion, and he can live long, and he can carry on in his father's position. So these are examples all throughout the Shastra. It's constantly happening that, and here Brahma's begging, please don't let me become proud. And by being conditioned, he means that I think that I have a habit, and I'm doing these things, and these things are happening because of me. But don't let me forget that it's happening because of you. You are empowering me. I can't do anything without the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Nothing, and everything, even my failures, are his mercy. So, and this is the way Brahma is praying. Like, this is what, that I don't want to become proud. I don't want to become conditioned. I don't want to think I'm the doer. I'm not the doer. Krishna's the doer. And he's giving me the chance to act as his servant. Because that's my constitutional position. And we're here in the prison house. We've been sent to the prison house. If many of you are Catholics, you know there's an original sin. So the original sin is what? Envy of Krishna. We're envious of Krishna, so we're sent to the prison house. And Lord Brahma is like, he's the best, he's more than a warden. I mean, he's like the best trustee or the warden of the prison house. Actually, Durga Devi is more of a warden. But he's the best prisoner. So he's a trustee. And he has to act on behalf of the owner, the governor. Krishna's the governor. And the state's prison house is this material universe. We're all the criminals. We either act and serve the laws of the prison, or we act and serve the laws of the governor. And we know how to do that by connecting to Guru, and he teaches us about Krishna. And then as we do that, we don't forget, I'm doing this. I have this ability. Before I came to the movement, I may not have been able to, deal with legal matters, constitutional lawsuits, or I may not have been very expert in retail sales, or I may not have been very expert in speaking publicly. But all of those things, if you're doing it for Krishna, he gives you the ability to do those things. And so we can't forget, it's me. I am so expert at this, or I know this because of my past. No, it's because of Krishna. Don't let me become proud. Let me always remember that I'm a servant. And humility means that, doesn't mean that I think bad of myself, that I think I'm so rotten, I have no self-esteem. No, it means I stop thinking about myself, and I think more about my Guru and about Krishna. And I humbly serve him. And I'm not doing this to draw attention to myself and to benefit from myself. Anyway, I hope I haven't said anything improper or incorrectly. I wasn't actually sure this was the first to do. So I hope if it's... does anyone have any questions? or comments? Yes.
This is so true. Your class is really nice today. I mean, it always is. But it's so true when you just...
It's Prabhupada.
Okay. It's so true what you just said about this thing. You know, when you do some service, sometimes you feel, if you're doing it so much of the same thing over and over, you become very good at it.
Yes.
And then, just recently this happened, I think I told that to Sundri. One day when I was doing this, and I told her I'm a queen at this. And then the next minute, that thing didn't work. Just like that, on the same day. And I said, when I tell you this work, I'm a queen at this. But then, it didn't work. So it's just this one word, you know, or one pride, you know.
The guy wants to play the kartals in front of Prabhupada, and he looked at me like, oh.
Right away.
There was also just one quick, I'm not going to mention names here, but there was a person in the beginning who helped Prabhupada with putting together in editorial, you know, like being an editor of one of his first books. And this person thought that he should be listed as a co-author. He didn't know anything about this particular subject matter before Prabhupada. And this was basically a sum and substance of one of the scriptures. So I don't want to give it away because the person is not around anymore, but still. And so because he was helping in the proper, the English pronunciation, proper grammar, so he thought, well, I should be the co-author. Put himself on the same level. He was giving a chance to assist Srila Prabhupada in presenting pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, and he thought he couldn't read Bengal. He didn't know anything. Only by Prabhupada's mercy, and he was getting a chance to help him. Like say if I'm typing, just because I'm typing Prabhupada's letters, doesn't mean I wrote them. From typing the purport or transcribing, listening to what he has on the dictaphone, and then I'm transcribing it, doesn't mean that I'm the one who's writing it. But that's what can happen. Yes, Mother?
Well, I just wanted to add, thank you. It's a very nice class. Because I've been meditating a lot on pride, because even if you've been devoted for 40 years, you can start to detect like Krishna's grace. Pride, you're thinking you're getting cleansed, but you have to be so patient. And I get one example in my life. I remember standing around, I lived in Dallas community for 19 years. That's the longest I could stay in any place. I was fortunate.
It's a long time.
And what happened, I remember standing around the Tulsi, and someone didn't pass the Gita or something. You feel a little, like, here I am, a senior devotee, but it struck me like Tulsi's grace. Why am I feeling like that, because I'm been around longer.
Right.
That's one of the things too about a position.
Yeah.
But then, Krishna's so merciful. Then he had me move around several times for several years, and nobody knows you.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You're treated like a bhakti.
I like
And
that.
it was really good for me. So I really felt like Krishna really.
Sometimes I think it's like when the person's going around and say, like the tongue presence there, and then the next senior person's in the back. It seems so kind of silly that they're all the way back there. Just go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, because we're all,
Did you have something?
No, what she said, was just good. You feel like I went to Trinidad and I didn't want anybody to know who I am. Otherwise, they'll start treating you special.
Yeah.
So I was just like a bhakti in there, I was like, what can I do? Wash pots, clean these, that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really nice to become a bhakti back again. I really want to tell you that. This makes you humble, simple,
But at the same time, there has to be something. Prabhupada was always trying to teach us proper respect for seniors. Not just spiritually seniors, but also physically, age-wise seniors. But if an older person came to visit, make sure you give them a proper seat, things like that. Prabhupada was concerned about etiquette, but not to be. Well, I was initiated 10 seconds before you were, so. Really? Yeah. Anyway, this. It's just we have to remind ourselves, and when every now and then it comes up, and here's Lord Brahma right from the get-go. He's saying, And Prabhupada's saying it's a pitfall of pride. Pride comes before the fall.
Yeah. Definitely, it's one of the big pitfalls.
There's a really nice poetic example that Prabhupada had, and we used it in the Marori Band. And it says that trees that are barren, they don't have, they stand very proud and tall. They don't have any fruits. They're very tall. But if you notice, like with some of the blueberry bushes, they're overladen, you know, heavy with fruits. And so they were literally bowing down like that. So the example is, you know, a forest full of barren trees stand so proud and tall, but trees overladen, bowing down humbly. And so, yes.
Well, go ahead, I can finish.
No, it was just
There's something related to that, is that I heard that they're the first to get cut down, is the tall, straight ones.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly.
I thought that's what you
Well, the wind when I remember after Katrina was very interesting. If you drove from here to Hattiesburg when you finally could, the tops of the pine trees, like the first, like say, the top 40% of them, it's like somebody came along and just cut the tops off, because they didn't necessarily all of them get uprooted, but the tops of the trees were cut down.
It's cut on the street.
Yeah, but then the really tall, you know, they would also, so, you know, the way it's like you're walking so proud and tall, but you know, a real sage, someone who's actually done something, he's bowing down humbly. He has no problem paying obeisances. He doesn't struggle with that issue of being respectful.
One last thing, okay, we try to be tall and humble and then look down, because there is some slabs on that little thing, on that little sidewalk.
Yes.
If you don't pay attention, you will just tumble over. I don't know who put them there. They need to remove that a little bit.
Where is this?
In the dark, you know, in the morning, one lucky time, yeah, if somebody's running, they'll just run straight to it.
Oh my goodness.
You know, somebody has to do that. But one other thing, and then I gotta leave them. Try to go through. These pride thing you're talking about, that with the demigods and all this exalted personalities like Indra, Chandra, Surya, and all of them, because they are only one of its kind. So, especially Lord Indra, he's challenged over and over and over. And he never learns. He comes back, he finishes his atonement, and he'll do it all over again. Because that's just him, you know?
But also you see, and I read recently, like what, not Injaloka, but what I was thinking about, I've been reading about the curse of Daksha and Sati, and the description of Kailas, and this isn't even Injaloka, but the Kailas, the place where Indra lives.
Not Kailas. Kailas is Lord Shiva.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm saying not Indra's place. Even this is Kailash, and but all the demigods go there.
Yes.
There's an area there where they all go to enjoy, and the description of the trees and the sounds of the birds and the beautiful music and everything, the atmosphere. And you know, Krishna says, don't be misled by the flowery words of the Vedas, because if you hear that, you think, oh, you know, maybe I could just go there for a little while.
I'd like to add one more thing about Indra, because I always hear about his pride, and you hear about that a lot, because he's a great example in that way, no disrespect. But what really struck me is a few weeks ago, I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam Rita, where Lord Indra is, Narada Muni meets him, and he's very repentant and very humble. His speech is so humble that you'll never forget it. So I recommend everyone read it.
Yeah.
It's like he's reflecting on his mistakes, and he's like, you know, because Narada's thinking, oh,
well, I actually feel that,
etc. He's trying to, you know, to
not that I have had, you know, many, but at various points, and I've seen all the godbrothers who've had really great success in serving Prabhupada and being recognized by him, and then something they start to then overdo it, and then they get smashed. And coming back is not easy. And begging, and then there was one devotee who was expert at it. I mean,
do it over and over again.
Huh?
Do it over and over again.
Well, you can't, you sort of like, you go along, oh, I'm sorry, I can't believe I did this. And then you start, and then all of a sudden you're so humble, you start to really apply yourself, and then things start to become successful, and you're a part of that success, and then you start to think, I'm the doer! It's me! Yes! And then, bam, it happens again.
Krishna's mercy against that.
But so, I always admired this one devotee because he was so expert at being able to, because it's hard when, like Krishna says to Arjuna, one who's been honored, dishonored is worse than death. So to be publicly, chastised and then still have the strength of character and determination to come back, that's to be admired.
It's honorable.
And do you think that Krishna, he makes us eat so much humble pie that we start to like it?
Yeah.
I mean, after years and years.
Well, but it's hard.
He does have a sweetness.
We are just little flakes, just like it's like all of a sudden one ant becomes a little, because each ant is individual. They all look the same to us, but in their world, some are better looking than others, some are stronger than others, and and one of those ants becomes a little proud, and we don't know, and he's walking around real proud, thinking he's the best worker in the whole colony, and you accidentally step on his head.
Yeah.
You know that ants got a benediction. You know that, right? By Lord Vishnu, I think there's a whole big story about that. That they helped to, one of the queen ant helped to break the bow of Lord Vishnu when he was ready to fight. And the ant asked, "What are you going to give me as a prize?" And they said, "Okay, you will get the benediction that you will never get tired of working."
Oh.
And that's why they never get tired of working.
Oh, yeah,
and the queen ant said, "No, that's not enough. I need more. That's a big job to climb up there to break the bow."
Yeah.
And then they said, "Okay, you will be always found in the yajna area. All the remnants you all can eat, you can be around there, and all your colony will be."
So we can't chase them away.
Yeah, you can have benediction. You can go back to God and just eating those things.
Sometimes they start climbing on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different stories like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So for the next 3 mornings, I have to go for various tests.
So you won't be here?
No, and I really was concerned. It's happening. It's not on purpose, but like tomorrow again, I won't be here for Donna Kelly's class. And last week, the camera didn't get turned on for her.
I will try to tell Nishinga Prabhu to do that.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Because
you're going to put it away now, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to turn it off and put it off.
Okay, we're going to miss you if you're not going to be there.
Well, I'll be for part of it, but each day is different. And